Hello, and welcome to another thrilling episode of Between Two Lights, where we talk about the mundane yet important aspects of video production. Today, we're updating our Canon camera's firmware. Let's get into it.
3, 2, 1. Here we go!
Okay, so let's update the firmware on the Canon C300 Mark II. To start, you must download the setup instructions and the firmware from the Canon webpage. So I prefer to start here on this particular web page. It's the home page for all your software drivers. You come here to the search, and it's very easy. Type in C300, and there's all kinds of for the C300, but we have the Mark II, and we're going to go into the firmware tab and look for the operating system that we are running. Click on the download button there. Now while that downloads, let me just dump that to the desktop. It's essentially a zip file. We'll say open that when you're done. Now while that downloads, we'll need to come over here to our camera. Let's fire that up. And I'll show you guys, by using an HDMI cable here, what we have on our screen. So we're going to come down here to the little wrench, go to the transfer menu, and we're going to hit the save button. And I have to put in an SD card. Here on the Canon C300 Mark II, it uses CFast 2.0 cards to record, but you actually have to use an SD card for their update. Now, where is that? It is tucked away here on the front. You know, if you guys can see that, right up here, it says SD card, right? You pop it open. You don't use this for much of anything on this particular camera. You cannot record to it. It is only for these firmware updates. Once I put that in there, you can see 2SD shows up. I can now overwrite the save data, and I have saved all my settings from this camera. All my customizations, all my color profiles have been saved, so I can restore that once I update the firmware. So now that we're done saving the settings, we're ready to update the firmware. So I better grab my memory card here, bring it over to this side. So I'm going to need that. Now, here in the file that I download, there's your instructions. Make sure you read through this fully before you do your own firmware updates. But ultimately, all you need to do is take this FIM file, copy that over to your Canon memory card, and then eject that there. Bring it back over here to your camera. Plug that in there. Now when I go into the menu, I go to the wrench. I go all the way down to the very, very bottom. There's a firmware screen. And because I have a memory card in there with the new firmware, the camera here shows up highlighted. I can then press this, upgrade from 1.121 to 1.131. We'll go ahead and run the update. You can jump from version to version. You don't have to step it up as you may have had to do in the past. You can jump versions. It is important to update the firmware on your camera on a regular basis. It's something you want to check every couple months, especially in the beginning of a new model release. So this says updating the firmware. It's going to take a couple minutes. We'll wait. And that is how you update the firmware on the Canon C300 Mark II. If you found this video helpful, make sure you push the buttons below, and you'll see more videos from the team here at M1 Studios, a national video agency producing video content for businesses and organizations since 2008. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.